Hi guys. Whoa. Blake here today with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on beautiful upper Lake Taneycomo. It is May the 3rd, Monday, and I'm going to do the one cast for you today. So, let's see. Today, I've boated up. I am, let's see, I'm about a couple hundred yards below Short Creek over here on the north bank. We're in this flat right now. Right here, kind of where the bluff ends and the flat land begins over here on the north bank. Today, I'm gonna go back to something we haven't got to do for a while. Number one, because too much moss is on the bottom and we didn't have fast enough current, but now we do. So I'm gonna drag a jerk bait. Today I've got a 762. This is what the shop calls the Magneto. It's kind of a black and bluish purple with a white belly, and I've got that on about 2.5 foot a leader with an 1/8 ounce bell sinker on a size 12 snap swivel and a size 12 barrel swivel to separate the line on the rod and the line from the leader. And we're going to start here on this flat, and we're maybe going to work our way all the way back down to the dock. I don't know, I haven't decided yet. We'll see how the fishing is. Okay. We still have the same water conditions. They're still running 3 generators and 5 floodgates for a total of 15,000 cubic feet per second. I have not looked today to see what Table Rock's level was at. I think the last time I looked, it had crested the other day and is slowly dropping. But it will be a while before we see it get back down to 915, which is power pool, I believe. Let's see. So this morning started off cloudy conditions. Probably more fog on the lake this morning than we've seen in quite a while. It was pretty humid. I guess it stormed pretty good last night, and that humidity transferred over to this morning and caused a pretty good fog on the lake. Beautiful temperatures here today. This morning started off around 60 degrees, and I'd say it's about 75. It was working on getting to the 80 degree mark today, but the cloud cover is rolling back in again. We've prepared for some pretty nasty storms, it sounds like, coming up to starting tonight, early tonight and through tomorrow. I don't know what kind of rainfall they're calling for, but that could cause the floodgates to stay on a little longer if we get any significant rainfall. Today I'm just going to work my way. So once you get past this flat and it cuts right across from Trout Hollow's lodge on this north bank, there's kind of a seam between the eddy water and the fast current, and I'm just going to focus on dragging my jerk bait kind of right in that seam line. Fish seem to like to set in those seams, so I got quite a bit of moss on there. So nothing officially on the first cast. Get that moss off of there. We're starting to get to where the eddy starts, so we're gonna get the boat positioned on that seam line. I'm gonna leave the boat in the main current, and I'm gonna cast kind of over the top of the seam, and that'll keep the jerk bait dragging a good speed, and it'll keep it kind of right there where I want it. Oh, let's see. Fishing reports for today. Dwayne had a trip this morning that I got to join him for, and we set out on a mission to catch a big brown trout. We threw the signature series 110+1 jerk baits the entire 4.5 hours that we were out there. The signature series, those bigger jerk baits, we use those to target trophy. Oh, I just had one on and I missed him. He was on there good. To target trophy trout here, and you gotta work those 110s really hard. You gotta really put a lot of wrist and shoulder, and it is quite the workout, especially when you do it for that long. But it did pay off. We got 3 brown trout to chase us to the boat. We did not get to land one, but we did get to see a few. But Dwayne did hook and land about a 24-inch 7-pound rainbow this morning in the first hour of the trip, so we did get a picture story worthy fish. And we threw all the different colors that the 110+1 comes available in, and I think we caught fish on all of them. I'm going to scoot a little bit closer into the seam. I've gotten pushed out a little farther than I want to be. Yesterday, I went and did the 1 cast with the scuds, and those worked great. And then I stayed after a few more hours and just kind of fished around. After I drug some scuds some more, I went up to the dam and I got the fly rod out, and I put a white mega worm underneath a float with a lot of split shot to keep it down. I had the depth set at roughly 9 to 10 foot. I caught a few fish drifting from the cable down to the boat ramp on the mega worm, and then I switched over to a shad fly underneath the same setup. Just took the mega worm off and put a shad fly on. Same drift zone from the cable to the boat ramp, and they seem to actually be biting the shad fly a little better than the mega worm. I threw the 110+1 yesterday for just a second below Fall Creek and caught about a 16-inch brown. Really wasn't very long, but it was very, very healthy, fat brown trout. And then I came to Trout Hollow Lodge across over on this same seam that we're drifting on now, and put on a jerkbait to drift just to see if it would work. Whenever the water's running this fast, it's usually something that works great, provided that the bottom's not too mossy. And it actually seemed like the bottom down here is, you'll still pick up some moss, but it's not nearly like trying to drag up in the trophy area right now. And I actually caught 3 or 4 fish drifting from here back to the dock. So that's kind of what prompted me to come out and try drifting the jerkbait today. Right now the current's running fast enough that you could just keep drifting this jerkbait on past our dock and kind of down towards Monkey Island. Ooh, there was another fish. They're just barely tagging it. Sometimes these trout that try to bite this are so small that they actually can't fit that. Oh man, can't fit that jerkbait in their mouth, so they just kind of play with it and you never get them hooked. Well, I grabbed a few different colors I'd never used off the shelf in there, and we've had a couple bites on this one, but I think I'm gonna switch over and just try one of the other colors just for fun. So that was the Magneto, and let's see, this one I'm pretty sure they're calling Ghosted, and it's kind of just it's got kind of a darker face, a black back, and real silver light sides, kind of reminiscent of a Rapala original minnow. It's got a little more holographic stuff going on in it than the Rapala does, but it's that same 762 model. We're gonna try that one. See if maybe they like those colors better. We actually caught fish for the full 4 hours though on the 110+1s. We never, like I said, we never got connected with the brown trout that we wanted to get in the boat, but we did catch fish from anywhere up by the cable all the way down by Monkey Island, throwing the jerk baits. And we talked to a few different guides on the lake today, and everybody that we talked to, they were all dragging scuds, and they said it didn't matter where they drug them at, they were catching fish real good. So the scud bite is super hot right now. That running water is pushing all those scuds out from all their hiding spots, and the trout are taking advantage. One cool thing about dragging a jerk bait specifically is it tends to have a higher probability of hooking in with the bigger trophy class fish, and brown trout seem to like them quite a bit. So there's always a better chance of catching a brown if that's something that you're out here to target and you want an easy way to drift down the lake and do it. Right now is a good current for that. And this is a nice, easy method that you don't have to do a whole lot with, that could still produce that bigger fish you're looking for. That 1/8 ounce weight is generally just plenty to get to the bottom. The jerkbait kind of works its way down that way as the weight pulls it, so you really don't ever need much more than an 1/8 ounce. I think I haven't felt it on the bottom in a while, so I think that maybe I got some moss on the bill. And sure enough, right on top of the bill. If you don't feel, after, let's just say after 20 or 30 seconds, if you don't feel that jerkbait dragging the bottom, if you don't feel it wiggling, you need to pull it back in. You might have already collected moss, or something may have got tangled. But it's a pretty significant once you feel it hit the bottom. You can really feel that thing working. So if you're not feeling a lot of action, you need to pull it in and check it and just make sure. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with this one, but it's not swimming the way I want it to. So I'm gonna switch over to the last one that I brought. This one's called the Hybrid. It's it almost kind of looks brown troutish, to really be honest with you, but it's kind of got a black back with brown sides, a few dots, and some stripes. I'm gonna throw that one out there and try it. I have not tried this in the trophy area. I just feel like there's still too much moss on the bottom up there. I might go up and try it, but if you're coming down, try this method up top. If you don't drag a lot of moss, it might be a good way to catch some fish up there. another one. All right, well, they are definitely getting the bait a little bit, but they're not getting that back hook in their mouth. I think primarily that most of the colors that we sell of these baits up there, I think you could drag just about any of them and catch fish out here. I think that there's days where some of the color patterns work a little bit better than others, but I think for the most part you could put just about any of them on here and drag them along the bottom. Last year, whenever the floodgates were open for a while and the trout got to see some shad and stuff, you could drag these from the dam all the way down to the landing when the water was moving fast enough, and you could catch fish the whole way. And we were catching a lot of brown trout specifically, dragging these. I think I may have just hit a patch of moss there. Yep, sure enough. I believe night crawlers and power bait have still been working good, dragging from the Short Creek area kind of back down to our dock, from what I understand. Pretty busy Monday down here on the dock. We have sent out almost all of our pontoons and a good number of John boats. Alright, well, it's always funny when you do something one day and less than 12 hours later or less than 24 hours later you come to the same spot to do the same thing and can't get them to bite the same way. But that is just fishing for you. I'm gonna go back to the first bait I started with. I feel like I had the most bites on it. So we also sell other model sizes. So this is the 762 model. Sometimes I find that, so like we have the 606 models up there, we have the 639 models. Sometimes the fish are looking for a different size or kind of a different wobble. So a lot of the time when I do this, I'll tie on a few different models and try each one and figure out which size or action that they're looking for. We're just about 300 yards away from the dock now. Oh man, there was another fish. They must be so small that they just can't get that back hook in their mouth. So far that's 4 or 5 fish that I felt on there for just a second and couldn't get the hook set. Speaking of hook sets, whenever you set the hook on these, once you feel the fish on there, you can just kind of pull back slowly. You don't have to set the hook hard or anything. Kind of the same way when you're drifting anything out here. Trout just have soft mouths, and if you rip too hard, then a lot of the time you don't catch them. I can say this is one of my more favorite things to drag. And I've actually got a fish on here and it feels like it might be a good one. If the water conditions are conducive and the bottom's clean enough, this is probably one of my favorite ways to drag something. Because you just always have the chance of catching that bigger fish. Oh no. Oh man. Okay, well, we don't get to see what that was. The way that felt, it really felt like a brown trout and it felt pretty large, and I'm super disappointed. But that's also fishing for you. I had my drag loose and he was really pulling and yanking and shaking his head, and I was afraid that he might throw that hook. I was just thinking, man, we went this whole time without seeing a fish, but it was going to get to be a good one, and sure enough, he got away. You sure can tell there's a storm system moving in the way the air feels right now. Man, I'm disappointed I lost that fish. That really felt like a good one. There's another one. And we're actually just getting ready to go past the dock right now. So, not very far away from home at the moment. And of course, this one's nowhere near the size of the last one, but it is a nice little rainbow. Come on, buddy. Ow! Just about got me. Man, I've been doing a lot of dropping fish lately. I gotta cut that out. I try to grab a hold of the bill of the jerkbait first, which is what I was aiming to do, but he managed to throw the hook there. Alright, we don't get to look at him either. But we're gonna try to catch one more here right in front of the dock. Last year around this time, we would actually back out of the dock. We'd start kind of right in the middle of the lake, and we'd drag these jerk baits from there down to Monkey Island, and it was really successful. Do I got him? It's either that or I got a real big chunk of moss. Nope, super big chunk of moss. And it does not want to come off of there. I wish my fish would stay as hooked as that moss did. Darren and Kirk are over there on the dock staring at me right now. We just went past the end of our dock, working our way in front of Ozarks Trout Resort now. I think we'll go for just a couple more minutes, but haven't had a whole lot of success getting them fully hooked and landed today, but this is a good method, and it seems like the bottom is definitely clean enough to at least drag from Trout Hollow down. So if you're interested in trying something new, I would suggest trying this. A lot of the time you'll get used to the way this thing drags, and you can kind of tell when those fish are hitting it, but they almost hit it from side to side. They'll bump it a few times before they get the hook a lot of the time, and so you just kind of got to wait until you feel them take it fully. Alright, last cast. I'm going to scoot out towards the bluff a little bit for my last cast. Taking the belly hook off of the jerkbait is kind of important. Not only does it help the jerkbait float a little bit more, but it also keeps it from getting hung up as much. There's been times where I've drugged the same bait for multiple fishing trips in a row and never lost it. And some days you'll lose a few, so definitely be prepared and get a couple of them. Alright, well, didn't get to see many fish today, but definitely had a lot of hookups, so I thank you guys for watching. Like and share us on Facebook, and we'll be out here again to do it for you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.